Today I will be presenting the sculpture from the Hellenistic period. The Hellenistic period, lasting nearly 3 centuries, started with the death of Alexander the Great in 323 BC and ended with the death of Cleopatra and Mark Antony at the defeat of Actium by Augustus in 30 BC. The sculpture in the Hellenistic period introduced a range of subjects that might not have been suitable for all of its public viewers.
One of the main things that separates sculpture from the Hellenistic period and other periods is that the sculpture from the Hellenistic period interacts with its environment. And the statues appear to have actual feelings and actual emotions. They're just more lifelike in general. And I think that the sculptor created this effect by paying extreme attention to detail. The details in all of the sculptures from the Hellenistic period are very, very intricate. You can really see what exactly the sculpture was feeling and even thinking.
One of the greatest masterpieces of the period was Nike of Samothrace. When we hear the word Nike, we usually think of the brand that dominates the athletic industry in the world. Unfortunately, I'm not here to tell you about the hundreds of different pairs of shoes. Not gonna lie, those are kind of cute. A Nike is actually a Greek goddess who personifies victory. This is the Nike of Samothrace. The statue depicts the Nike of Samothrace on the prow of a Greek warship, raising her arm, which is no longer attached to the rest of the body, to crown the naval victor. The details of the Nike's drapery and the setting amplify the theatrical effect. The statue was put on display at the top of a 2-tiered fountain. The water of the fountain created an illusion of the rushing waves on the prow of the ship the Nike was on.
The next piece, the Barberini faun, is a perfect example of the style that was alive during the Hellenistic period. Classical statues appeared awake and alert. However, Hellenistic sculptures portrayed people laying down, supposedly dreaming about the fantasy world. Keeping with traditional Hellenistic sculpture, the Barberini faun is reclined back, probably passed out from drinking too much wine. The sculptors of this time period began to experiment and explore human sexuality. Therefore, it's no surprise that we see the Barberini faun laying on a rock with his legs spread wide open. Also, the male gaze that the Barberini faun has was not only directed at females, but also males. Back then, homosexuality was surprisingly common among the Greek men. A statue that pulls away from the traditional Hellenistic style is the Old Market Woman. Normally, sculptors wanted to create something that was appealing to the eye, whether that be a half-naked woman, or like we saw with the Barberini faun, a man reclining with his legs spread open. Old people were not necessarily considered worthy or appropriate images to be carved into statues during the Hellenistic period. The purpose the sculptor of the Old Market Woman pulled away from the traditional Hellenistic style is probably to show a newfound interest in social realism, which was absent until this time. The fact of the matter is that no matter your age, young or old, or your social status, you would come into contact with many different kinds of people on a daily basis. The old woman in the statue is holding a chicken and a basket of fruit and vegetables to either sell in the market or to give as a gift to the Greek god of wine, Dionysus. The fine details that you can see on the woman's face brings out the wrinkles on her face, as well as the thin, saggy skin on her neck. Sculpture from the Hellenistic period is characterized by a few different things. First off, the sculptures interact with their environment, like we see with the Nike of Samothrace. Secondly, some of the sculptures appear to be reclining in a very deep sleep, probably dreaming about a utopian fantasy, or just asleep from being drunk, like we see with the Barberini faun. The last thing that characterizes Hellenistic period sculpture is that we start to see the elderly recognized more and more as acceptable objects of inspiration for the sculptures when social realism made its debut. The diverse and unique styles that surfaced during the Hellenistic period lived on for many years, even longer than Greece was considered to be a political threat.